Hi. Sorry, I have a little bit of a flu, but yeah, in this video I would like to talk about really being positivity, really feeling positivity instead of overriding your will by pretending to be positivity. And how to find out about this is to really be at home and to feel who you are when you're completely alone. What you feel, what feelings arise. Do any feelings arise, or do you only feel when you're surrounded by people and by other people's energy? So it's quite interesting to find out who you are without anything, basically. So sit down at home and feel into yourself and feel the weaknesses, write them down. Feel all your weaknesses in all your life, write them down and write your strengths down and be as honest as possible with yourself. And if you cannot do it towards other people, that's probably that's a weakness as well, if you cannot admit your weaknesses towards other people, because then you could actually work on it with that person. But sometimes you cannot, and then you have to start writing it down at home and just be your friend, basically, by being really, really honest to yourself. And you know, the way I grew up is that weaknesses get attacked in some ways. And that's how society works, isn't it? The weak get attacked even more, the traumatized people get attacked even more. I mean, I thought that I might have a wrong perception and it's only my perception and only my life, but I studied many other people, so it's not only me. But usually the people who are weak are not in a loving light, and it's very hard to get into a loving light. The people that are down usually get abused, used, or dragged down even more. People want a positive vibration, and that's fine, but it's not fine to attack weak ones, to abuse them more, to use them or whatever, you know. It's like, oh my God. And yes, I'm very judgmental towards that. And if we want to rise in humanity, then we have to change that, you know. I mean, I'm very good at seeing the weaknesses in people straight away as well, and I try to drag them out. But usually people don't want to take responsibility for them, you know. They don't want to look at them, they don't want to progress or anything, they just want positive affirmations. And going through life without criticism, without reflecting on yourself or whatever, shows that some people walk into a direction without any criticism and they do stuff that's just unbelievable. Yeah. For example, inventing harp and shit like that, you know, or fracking. I mean, these areas must be actually places where people don't dare to criticize these people. So I imagine that these are cliques where criticism is not wanted. So a guy, for example, who's like in his hobby cellar and develops harp or like fracking or whatever, he gets to that point, he gets to the stage of power where he's actually able and allowed to realize this, like Hitler, yeah? So these people are actually in a space of no criticism. They probably have a wife at home, she's smiling, she's never saying anything bad about this guy. And so basically these people can develop whatever they want because they're surrounded by cliques of people who simply don't dare to criticize them or even don't want to criticize them. And I've seen many cliques like that. Yeah, they are hiding in cliques. Some people are hiding in cliques. You can see that in everywhere, you know. Some people are hiding in love and light cliques, and they think they are loving light, but when you really get into their shadows, they show themselves in a much worse light than actually people who are not so much in a loving light, but at least they're honest, you know. They show their rage, hatred, bad parts or whatever. I've witnessed a lot of people who are, especially men, who are pretending to be in a loving light, and then when you trigger something in them, I seem to be a big trigger for some people, then they show the worst evil shit, you know. It's like suppressed stuff, you know, it's crazy. For example, some want to get into SM and stuff like that, you know. I'm like, oh my god, but you're a love and light worker, you know. What's up with you suddenly? Ooh, scary. Anyway, so the best thing, if you cannot take any criticism from outside, then at least sit at home and be honest to yourself. You know, I've just finished a conversation with a guy who couldn't take my criticism. He was only projecting, only bam, 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 you. Yeah, he didn't want to take any responsibility for his behavior. And I really suggest for these people to sit down at home and to write down where the weaknesses lie and where the strengths are. And that would be honest. And it's not only that, but of course you have to erase the weaknesses step by step, being loving and kind towards yourself, of course, but step by step you have to erase them, yeah, and develop strength in comparison to that. So yeah, I have loads of weaknesses due to my childhood, loads and loads victim role here and there and that, and step by step I can erase them by developing strength as a balance to that. So step by step I can erase my weaknesses by developing more strength. And what I've witnessed everywhere is that people don't like to be triggered in their weaknesses. They do not like to be criticized in their weaknesses. They do not take any responsibility for their weaknesses. But the worst part is that they shout at you when you criticize them, calling you evil, instead of actually taking this criticism as, oh, wait a minute, I can actually develop, that's weak of me. I should get rid of this weakness and develop strength instead. Most people don't want that. And I believe that that is one of the main reasons why many things don't develop in this society, yeah? Because people want to stay where they are, basically. And, so... Of course I can only start with myself, but I've witnessed this everywhere, that people don't want to be criticized and don't want to... They want to be loved for their weaknesses, yeah? And I figured out, yes, I of course want to be loved for that as well, but I don't want to stay in that place, yeah? I don't want to stay in sorrow or in whatever, you know? So, but most people want to stay in their weaknesses, they want to keep them. Like, what is one example? Smoking cigarettes. You know, and if you criticize them, then that's bad, you know, or eating meat or whatever, it's bad, isn't it? But if you criticize that, then you are like a mother who, you know, I think mainly the people are rebelling against mama, who wants to tell her something, and maybe the reason for that is because the mother was nagging and criticizing. The way mothers do it mostly is not right and not good, okay? That's why people keep rebelling against something that is actually right, you know? Stop smoking, stop eating meat, don't get fat, do sports, this and that, you have a fat belly. Some people actually freak out, you know, fat guy, pregnant from here to the lower part, you know? And if you say, listen, you look like pregnant, you know, it's not nice, it doesn't look good, then he completely freaks out. And most people are like that, you know, they completely freak out when they get criticized for something that is actually a challenge or an opportunity to change it to the better. So yes, I can see that in myself as well, and it's difficult, isn't it, to get criticized, because you think it's your whole being that's not being loved. But you should really write it down. I have a little book now, detox book, and I wrote down my weaknesses, long list, very long list, and my strength. Not so long list yet, but it might change. And yes, step by step I can erase the weaknesses and feel into them. Where are they coming from? Why did they develop? Develop compassion for yourself, because only through compassion you can actually release them. And at the same time, when you develop compassion for yourself, you develop compassion in other people for this part as well. And step by step you have like a puzzle of compassion everywhere, and at one point you might have compassion for everything because you know where it's coming from, and then you're like Buddha, aren't you? Compassionate to the core. And not only compassionate, because that doesn't help anyone, even though it feels good and healing, but compassion needs to have a solution. Feeling sorry or compassionate is not a solution. You know, you always have to offer a solution, and the only way you can offer solutions is by finding that part in yourself, if you have that part at all. Some people didn't get abused, for example, and find compassion for that part, and then find solutions for yourself to cure it, to heal it, and then you can offer it to other people. So this is my first video, and I want to make a series of it because, I don't know, it's my own path, and I might develop something in it. It might not be useful for now, but it might be useful later, I don't know. But I just throw it out there and see what happens. Have a good day. Bye bye.